Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person. Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
You know what time it is. Monday. Time for Around the Nation. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a fun one. So, look, hopefully everybody had a fantastic holiday weekend. If you actually got the time off. I know I have some international viewers that don't. That sucks. Sad. Sorry for you. But to the U.S. audience and those who celebrate the Turkey Day, hopefully you all had an excellent extended weekend. You know, it was great not being able to pay attention to the news for a couple of days. That was nice. But hey, we're back. We've got disaster. We've got Mike Pillow. Yes, we have an excellent case of conservative duplicity when it comes to the vaccine. You're going to love that story. It's one of my favorite stories of the day. We've got anti-vax firefighters shitting themselves. It's fantastic. I love it. Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. Yes, so you've already had yours. Let us have ours. Let us have something nice. No, I know. Canadians, you're too nice to tell us no. Even though sometimes you probably should. Anyway, we got QAnon versus QAnon. That's fun. The Michael Flynn story is fantastic. And then, of course, how some people are starting to think, wait a minute. We've been wrong. Q has been wrong about everything so far. Maybe something's going on. Fun. Maybe there's a chance to bring some of these people back to reality. Mike the Pillow Lindell. Indeed. In fact, that's the first story we're going to start with. Before we do, please like and share the stream. And again, thank you, Raiders. Thank you, TYT, for the massive raid of 198 people. Welcome to the show. Hopefully, you stick around and have a little bit of fun as we go after the right. I spent the weekend catching up on your show. Well, thank you, Paige Lars. I appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. That's always fun. I'm sorry I didn't put up any additional content over the weekend. I said that I might do that, and then I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But trust me, I kept myself busy not doing anything. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, anyway. There's no chance that they come around when JFK didn't appear in the street. We'll talk about that. All right, let's do it. Let's start with a little Mike Pillow. All right. Mike Pillow had a pretty terrible holiday weekend after his promised lawsuit turned into a real turkey. Which means it's time for another episode of Pillow Talk.
God gave me this platform. I already know I'm going to win. China did our vote. Biden and Harris would say, hey, we're here to protect the country, and resign. Mike Lindell's a conspiracy. But you haven't. Just forget about the evidence. This was attacked.
That never gets old. All right. So, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell had lashed out over the weekend during his 96-hour thanksathon. You know, the whole 96-hour thing that was supposed to culminate in him delivering this lawsuit that was supposed to be accepted by the Supreme Court, 9-0. And he was supposed to have all this support from Republicans, attorneys general, all over the states. Because there's fraud. There's fraud in all 50 states. There's fraud everywhere. So much fraud. And we've got all the evidence right here. Well, turns out, no, it didn't really work out for him very well. In fact, starting on Friday, after none of this happened, another failed prediction, Lindell decided to go after members of the right, especially right-wing media, for not buying into his lawsuit, not spreading information about it, or not supporting it enough, not pressuring attorneys general to actually sign on to it. In fact, he had this to say about Christian radio network Salem Radio. So this is the Salem Radio Network. They host the likes of Dennis Prager and Sebastian Gorka. Ah, yes, good old Seb Gorka. Now, here's what he said about them. They haven't had me on for a long, long time. They won't talk about why I was canceled. Because you're spreading insanity? He then called the network, which is very, very pro-Trump, by the way, worse than the likes of Dominion voting systems, you know, the people that are supposedly have done the fraud, and the obviously mysterious foreign entities, China, the Chinese Communist Party, the Iran, whatever. Insert supposedly bad foreign actor here that he believes stole the 2020 election from Donald Trump. No. Nobody stole the election from Trump. That was all us here in the States saying, yeah, no, we're going to opt to not go with another 4 years of complete and utter insanity. We're just going to go for milquetoast normal. Which sucks. I agree, it sucks. But it is still better than 4 years of absolute insanity. All right, so now this isn't all. On Saturday afternoon, he took it a little step further, saying that right-wing Salem radio host MyPillow Promotions will no longer work next week. With Salem, nobody gets to sell MyPillow products going forward. You are done selling MyPillow products. You realize that actually hurts you more than it hurts them, right? Yeah, I know. Lindell pays for advertising, etc. But that advertising then turns into direct sales, which you're supposed to actually gain more from those direct sales than you spend on advertising. If you're not a moron and know how to run a business, generally that advertising budget, you already have the costs laid out, and you're supposed to get, again, a gigantic revenue boost from spending money on advertising. That's marketing 101. But again, we're talking about conservatives here. We're talking about Mike Pillow. And so obviously he knows absolutely nothing. Now, I just think about it this way, okay? I'm going to punish you for not advertising my pillows, literally my pillow, and somehow that is not going to hurt myself. They don't care. They don't care. The networks don't give a shit. They get more money from daddy billionaires than Mike's advertising budget could ever pay for. They're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. This is what Mike Pillow spends in advertising for his pillows it's pocket change for them, essentially. They get all their funding, all these right-wing networks. You got to understand that these right-wing networks, they're not making money. They're not doing very well financially. I remember the Blaze, which was supposed to be, Glenn Beck's, conservative network. We got the best, we got the biggest network, we're expanding everywhere. The Blaze hemorrhaged money for a very long time until what? What happens with all these right-wing sites? They get tons of money. Again, they're funded by a few very, very rich billionaires. Fox News, Fox News, when it started, I think it took about a decade for them to get out of the red. And then they finally, of course, were able to hit their stride, unfortunately for the rest of us, and start making money from advertisers and deals and things like that. Again, Fox News is pretty much the only successful conservative network that knows how to make money. Now, as far as everything else, One American News, 90%, this is recent, according to Reuters, 90% of OAN's revenue came from a contract with AT&T. AT&T literally said, let's build a right-wing network so I can get tax cuts. In fact, OAN founder and chief executive Robert Herring Sr. testified that he was offered $250 million for OAN back in 2019, and said that without that deal, without the direct TV and all the AT&T money, the network's value would be nothing, zero. That's it. So they depend on gigantic donor money. While Lindell has money, yeah, he's got a few $1 million he can throw towards Trump's campaign, etc. But he's not the big funder he thinks he is. And right now, his election fraud nonsense is not only grossly and easily disproven, it's also financially dangerous for anyone who gets involved. Dominion and Smartmatic have sued for billions of dollars anyone who's been spreading the big lie, and have promised even more lawsuits, and have some pretty ample evidence of defamation for their lawsuit. They're going to win. They're going to win. They do not want to be around Mike Pillow when he goes down. With that context, let me give you his Sunday meltdown, which is lots of fun to watch.
You know how many people have worked hard, given up everything they had because they know this country is gone.
Right.
If we don't save it now. I'm not doing that. I didn't say this. I was angry, came out wrong, probably came out wrong, angry, and I'm frustrated. I've had it. It's like we work so hard here, all of you do out there, working so hard to get to something that should be so simple. That's, open up the machines. Of course, every state was illegal. You've got a Supreme Court case here now. Here's what's frustrating. We've worked hard on this. They're making a mockery out of it right now on Facebook and stuff. The media over here, the attack media. So where's our media?
Right.
Where's our media? The stuff in here, Mike doesn't have an attorney general yet. I talked to 20 some of them. They wanted some more time because they were helping our country and helping those kids. Those kids with so they didn't have to get shot.
You poor deluded man. Holy balls. Look, he's still, understand the guy is still stuck in cope. I know. No attorneys general signed on because they know mass voter fraud didn't happen. But Mike Pillow is invested. He's invested in this personally. And not only just financially, but personally. He's staked his entire reputation on it, which again isn't very much, but nonetheless for him, again, he believes, literally believes his own bullshit. He has gotten high on his own supply. It's not going to be long, and this is my prediction. It's not going to be long till he compares himself to Jesus. Oh, look at that, they're pillaring me on the cross. It's bizarre. And understand, too, that this man was never mentally well to begin with. Look, one of you viewers on Twitch actually mentioned the story that TYT did, TYT Investigates, where it showed how Lindell had been manipulated by the family. I know it sounds like a mob, oh no, I'm reading a mob novel or something like that. No, it's real. The family, and they did manipulate a lot of people. They got him to meet with Donald Trump, and of course that's so that Donald Trump can go and get Mike Lindell as a big donor, and it's basically all about money. And so he's not a smart person, and was easily manipulated by people, of course, that are their only motivation is money and power. And that's it. He's delusional. He's just delusional, not a smart person. I mean, think about it this way. Conservative groups looked at this guy, at this blithering moron, and thought, yummy in my tummy, oh yeah. There's somebody that we can use. Oh. They know a good chunk of the base is just as delusional as Mike Pillow. And they can be easily exploited for cash. But here's the thing. The grift is nearing the end. I don't think it's going to be profitable for that much longer to be at like the Mike Pillow conspiracy level of election fraud. No, don't get me wrong. They're still going to talk about this. Conservatives, Republicans are still going to talk about this all the time. And look, we've already seen kind of like the tone shift on this. They're going to go and they're going to casually mention, without going into enough detail, to like trigger lawsuits, for example, defamation. And they'll just say, well, the election was stolen by them. Well, who's them? Yeah, the Democrats. Yeah, the Democrats stole the election, or, you know, they did. The deep state, whatever. They're not going to, go and point out specifically Smartmatic. Again, these are the more intelligent Republicans that are, again, going to use this for political gain. And of course, look, the political gain that they're, using this narrative to milk is basically to try to justify putting in more voter ID laws and things like that, voter restrictions, voter purges, so they can gain and solidify power. That's what the narrative has always been about. Again, the voter fraud narrative is not new. It's been around for a very, very long time. And it's just a way to try to stop black people, students, Democrats, people who don't already vote in large enough numbers that they should or could. They just do that to prevent them from voting easily, to discourage people. Like, I don't want to wait in 6 hours, in a 6 hour line to vote. And I don't even know if my vote's going to matter because of my heavily gerrymandered district. I might as well just not vote at all. I might as well just not, participate in the democratic process. And that's exactly what they want you to do. They literally put these gigantic roadblocks and hoops in the way. And of course, like the Democrats, ain't nobody here excited by the Democrats. So again, that's another reason that there is so much voter apathy in the way. And then you stick a couple of extra hoops in the way, or Republicans do, and you're just like, fuck it. I ain't got time for this. It's not going to matter. And I'm actually disagreeing. I think it does matter, and I think you should go and vote. But I can understand the reasons why some people are turned off from this. Because you have these roadblocks and hoops and a terrible, like, disastrous Democratic Party that can't find its head out of, for anything, okay? It doesn't stand for anything, but that's a whole other segment aside. But they're playing on the apathy, and they're just making it worse. And so that's been the Republican playbook for, longer than I've been alive. I can tell you that. And they've admitted it in many different times, many different ways, sometimes right out in the open, saying, yes, we don't want more people to vote because guess what? When more people vote, when more people get involved in the electoral process, we don't win. We lose, and we lose power. That's always been the name of the game. And this entire narrative is going to continue to, it's going to continue as a result of that. Whether or not Lindell is going to go down. He's going to get sued to oblivion. But that's okay. He's the sacrifice that Republicans, that the people in power that want to stay in power, the moneyed interests, are more than willing to offer up. Should we get rid of the Electoral College? Abso-freaking-lutely. As Phoenix Dragon says. All the more reason the Electoral College needs to be disbanded. If we went by a popular vote, nothing to gerrymander. Yes, then we would actually have a direct democracy. There'd also never be another Republican president again. Also true. Pillowed by the press. Oh, that's so good. Why didn't I put that as a sidebar? Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next story. Nothing more disgusting than somebody pandering to an audience. But that's exactly what Representative Nancy Mace was caught doing. Now, in an interview with Fox News on Sunday, Mace was on with former Congressman Jason Chaffetz, who pushed, some anti-vax talking points. Oh, we got natural immunity, and that's superior to vaccine-induced immunity. And then, of course, less than a day later, less than 24 hours afterwards, she then goes on CNN to give the opposite points and to be pro-vaccine. In fact, here's that duplicity.
And one of the things that the CDC has not done, and no policymaker at the federal level has done so far, is taken into account what natural immunity does. And that may be what we're seeing in Florida today. In some studies that I've read, natural immunity gives you 27 times more protection against future COVID infection than a vaccination. And so we need to take all of the science into account and not selectively choosing what science to follow when we are making policy decisions. And you're seeing, I believe, Governor DeSantis is, seeing the fruit of that labor today. And I've been a proponent of vaccinations and wearing masks when we need to. When we had the Delta variant raging in South Carolina, I wrote an op-ed to my community. And I've worked with our State Department of Health. I've run ads encouraging my district to go and get vaccinated. And when we have these variants and we have these spikes, to take every precaution from washing our hands to wearing the N95 or KN95 masks more than the medical mask, there is a statistically significant number of people that are protected from COVID when they wear those masks.
Literally less than a day apart. Wow. Oh yeah, COVID is serious business, and I'm very proud. I've always been very pro-vaccination, and I'm pro N95 mask, but only when I'm on CNN. If I'm talking to conservatives, well, we got to follow science, and natural immunity is 27 times better than, vaccines. So, look, Nancy Mace is a fantastic example of, the duplicity here. She knows her audience. She knows who she's talking to. And so that allows her, and understand that these audiences generally do not cross-pollinate. You think Fox News, the Fox News audience watches CNN at all? No. And look, vice versa, right? The CNN audience doesn't watch Fox News. And so she thinks that she can go on camera in these two different places and tell two different stories and have two different points of view. Well, amazing. Amazing. And again, disingenuous as hell. And that, by the way, this is the worst part. She obviously knows better. Duh. But she is lying and playing both sides. And that's it. She is a grifter, and a great example of, I think, how the most well-paid and well-known anti-vax hosts in conservative media are also lying to their audience because they know that their audience is a bunch of conspiracy theorist reactionaries. That's it. And look, they booed Donald Trump for saying, oh, you should probably get the vaccine because the vaccine is good. I got the vaccine. You should probably get the vaccine too. But, only if you want to. Only if you want to. It's a choice. It's a choice. Yeah, I believe in freedom. I believe in choices. The freedom and choices. Still, boo, Trump, you suck. That's what they do. That's what they do. And so, again, these conservatives, they don't want this. They don't want to be pushed back on their base. They want to pander and they want to placate the base because guess what? They turn out. They turn out very reliably. And very important, they also primary politicians they think are not, serving them enough. On the one hand, I can't help but admire how fearful the Republican politicians are of their base. Now, of course, that does unfortunately lead to them essentially lying. And look, the same thing kind of happens on the Democratic side, except that they don't really they're not really that afraid of the Democratic base, a lot of the Democratic politicians, but they still do the pandering. I mean, Nancy Pelosi with Kinty cloth. Okay, ridiculous, right? But they don't listen to any sort of feedback, and they certainly do everything that they can to fight against primary challenges and make sure the primary challenge or the primary process is the most difficult thing. Whereas we don't really have that on the Republican side. Republicans primary each other all the time, and some are very, very successful. And so, but as I said, there are reasons. Again, going back to the Republican base, some of them are incredibly heavily armed and will send death threats if a Republican, and I showed you the video of course, Fred Upton being called a traitor for voting for the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Okay. And not because of all the bad stuff that was in it, and there was a lot of bad stuff, and there was some good stuff in it as well. Some of the bad stuff is privatization, in investments in, private-public partnerships, lots of corporate welfare, lots of support. The Republican base doesn't go against the bipartisan infrastructure bill because of that stuff. No, they don't know what's in it. They just think, well, you're doing deals with satanic pedophiles, the satanic pedophile cult that eats babies and murders babies and drinks their blood. Well, I can't. But how dare you? You're a traitor. You're a traitor for actually doing legislation with these people. How dare you? So yeah, but understand that they lie for many different reasons. But that's what it is. Conservatives, again, Fox News, media, they do lie. But it gets better. Because after this, somebody notices how this woman loves to play, oh no, it's both sides. It's the both sides game. So let's do the both sides game. And well, here it is. Here she is doing it.
I have time after time condemned my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. We all have a responsibility, both elected members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. I get threats. I carry a gun now, Caitlin, because of the threats that I get from the fringes of both parties right now. I encourage people on both sides of the aisle to take a pause, and we've got to do a better job, both sides, going forward.
Would it help lower the temperature, which you say is necessary, if Kevin McCarthy was more vocally forceful about these comments?
I would say it would help lower the temperature if both sides did that. I would like to see both sides treated equally, and I think that's important.
And there it is. Both sides, both sides. Both sides are doing it. No, there's no both sides on this one. There's anti-vaxxers, and then there's people who are in reality. But look, here's what we know. Vaccines are better than what they call natural immunity in one very, very important way. And by the way, I'm just going to take issue here with calling it natural immunity. Because you think about it, it's like, well, first off, it's actually not immunity at all. It should be called natural resistance and vaccine-induced resistance. When you call it immunity, that's kind of confusing, okay, to some people. Because, well, you hear immune, and again, I come from a gamer background, so you think immune like, oh, I'm immune to damage. I'm immune to poison damage. I'm not going to take any damage from that. Completely immune, right? Well, again, in medical terminology, it's different. And that's why I think it should be called resistance. Resistance. And by the way, if you get the vaccine, and you absolutely should, you're still not 100% immune from getting the virus. Yes, your chances of getting infected with COVID-19 are significantly less than when you compare it to someone else who has not received any of the vaccines or had just received one dose of the vaccine. Okay, and again, you're also not not immune from getting COVID-19 if you've already had COVID. And so now again, your chances of not getting COVID again are better than if you haven't been vaccinated at all, because you do have resistance. And so that's the point of where it's actually way better to get vaccinated, because you are resistant to getting COVID without actually having to get COVID first to develop the quote unquote natural resistance. Okay? So now remember, you can only get that natural, so-called natural resistance or natural immunity if you've had COVID first. And unfortunately, there is a certain number of people that do not survive that first run-in, that first little bout with COVID. And among those who do, some of them, a percentage, end up with long-term COVID or long-haul COVID, heart damage, lung damage, permanent disability, high medical bills, things like that. And even without all of that, being unvaccinated and getting COVID also is more effective at spreading it around than being vaccinated. The more people that are vaccinated, the less chance, of course, it has to spread around to other people. And so there are varying factors as to why that is, including, again, viral load versus vaccinated and unvaccinated people who get COVID, and even behavioral, for example, being more careful. If you're somebody who wears a mask and gets vaccinated, it's very likely that your behavior is a lot more cautious in getting or transmitting the virus, or getting it and then and possibly transmitting it to others. You're just being more careful, and behavioral factors, do work. And so they do have an impact. And again, mask wearing, taking quarantine very seriously. But at the end of the day, it turns out that the studies have shown that having both vaccine and natural resistance actually tends to be the best at not getting COVID again. But I would say that the best is just not getting COVID in the first place. I think having, this vaccine resistance is good. Being vaccinated will always win out over the other, over all other measures, especially when it comes to getting COVID again. In fact, a new CDC study published in October found that vaccines are about 5 times more effective in preventing COVID-19 than natural immunity or natural resistance. And so it's also unclear how long protection from the natural resistance lasts, as you can be reinfected with COVID if you've already had it. And so please get your vaccine. Very important. Do not listen to the grifters who obviously are playing on you and your fears and feeding you mis and disinformation for cash. You're not just playing with your life, but you are playing with the lives of others. Bodybuilder, my son-in-law knows this is the second time getting COVID, not vaccinated, of course. First time, not that bad. This time in the hospital on a ventilator, scared son-in-law into getting vaccinated now. True. It's all BS, Mount Everest high stacked BS. No, what you're saying is BS. I'll totally agree with that. Like, if you're saying not to get vaccinated, then that's total BS. You should absolutely get it. Both doses. Hell, I'm even going to go for a booster. Maybe I can get my Magneto powers. All right. Before we get to the next story, which is fun, I do have to thank Christina for the sub. Appreciate that. For resubbing tier 1 for 6 months. Hey, awesome. Awesome. All right. Moving on. Let me see if I got the right video. Okay. Okay, I'm getting boosted Wednesday. Good, good, good. Excellent. The Los Angeles Fire Department is investigating an incident in which a firefighter had responded inappropriately after being handed a letter to comply with the city's vaccine mandate, according to a department spokeswoman last week. According to a report from the LA Times, The LAFD member responded to receiving the non-compliance letter by dropping his pants and wiping his buttocks with the letter, leaving fecal matter on the document before dropping it to the ground. According to the Stentorians of LA City, a group representing African American firefighters. And holy crap. I mean, literally in this case. Whew. Oh, you know what? It gets better. It gets better. An LAFD captain and a chief officer witnessed the incident, the Stentorians said in a statement sent to the Board of Fire Commissioners and city leaders. It took place at Fire Station 69 in Pacific Palisades. Not nice. Not nice. One situation that is not nice. All right. So LAFD spokeswoman Cheryl Gitaiza, I can't say her name, said the incidents alleged to have had occurred on November 18th. The department is aware of the seriousness of the allegations and took immediate action upon learning of this incident. She said, declining to comment on the details. What other details need to be known? Honestly. The consistency and the smell, what do you want? I mean, I know. Details about who this person is, what's their name? Like, none of that really matters to me at this point. I don't need to know the man to know his very dirty deeds that he shall be known for forever. He is the poop guy, the poop firefighter. Now, look, here's the thing, though. Serious note for a second. Nobody likes mandates. I get it. I understand. I wish we didn't, I wish we weren't in a situation where mandates were necessary. Okay? But again, and this is why they're necessary. You know what's worse than a mandate? Getting COVID. Even without the possibility that you could end up on a ventilator, just getting a mild case of COVID sounds terrible. It really does. Who wants to sit there and deal with that? I got time for it, okay? I got stuff to do. I don't want to sit in 3 days, in bed for 3 days, sweating nonstop and coughing my ass off. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Who wants to? Again, I got life to live, and I can still live life in a mask. I'm vaccinated, so I can still do things without having to worry about infecting grandma. All right? And here's the thing, though. And here's the thing that's really important, guys. And one of the best reasons you get vaccinated and wear a mask, okay? Now, and there are millions of families like mine. My dad's a cancer survivor, right? And so he's more at risk. Now, he and my stepmother both got COVID. Now, they both believe that it may have come from the school that she works at. She's a teacher. They had an outbreak there. She does special ed. And then, of course, from that, COVID. And so now what's good in this situation is, thank goodness they were both vaccinated. And they have recovered. And so I am super, super fortunate. And I'm glad that they were smart. They were smart enough to get the vaccine, that they took this seriously, and because it could have been so much worse. And it has been. Over 750,000 Americans have died as a result of COVID. So many families out there. This is not a joke. Not a joke. Now, his response, however, I'm going to make fun of that. That is a joke. Because this guy literally walked around with just enough shit in his pants to wipe it on a letter. And this guy probably thinks, nailed it. Yeah, I got it. I really showed those libs by not wiping my ass enough and having dingleberries. No, that's not the own you think it is, dude. I don't know about you, but I prefer to walk around with clean underwear and not leaving giant streaks everywhere I sit. Same. Look, I can almost guarantee this man does not do his own laundry. Could you imagine being his wife or his girlfriend or whatever and washing his shitty underwear? No, gross. Disgusting. Hell no. Hell no! Now, what's going to happen with this guy? Well, that's interesting. Now, Kataiza said the firefighters on paid administrative leave. So, okay, so he still gets paid for this. And will face the consequences of any inappropriate acts. However, the Stentorians described the act as terminable, as in he can get fired. Their statement included a photo of a man holding what appeared to be a discolored document. That man apparently... So not only did he wipe his ass, but then he picked it up and took pictures. Gross. That's even worse. That is even worse. Come on. And this photo went around the station, Station 69. In fact, the photo sent Wednesday by the Stentorians circulated within the fire department on Friday. And even the person who was in the photo holding it, well, they tried to get a hold of him. And first it was like, oh, well, he's not here. And then, oh, you've got the wrong person. So now he's like, oh no, this has gone viral. Oh no, my statement. You could say that he was scared shitless. Now, Jimmy Woods Gray, president of the Fire Commission, on Wednesday said, quote, "I'm beyond appalled at such an act by an LAFD firefighter. Strong corrective action is necessary." So here's what I think. I think the guy was likely going to get fired anyway. Why? Because he didn't want to vaccinate. That's it. He just made a very shitty point in doing so, and he is not the only one. In fact, in August, LA Fire Captain Kristen Granucci recorded himself ranting on YouTube, basically. And he's ranting against the city's COVID-19 vaccine requirement, the mandate, as I said. And I want to show you some of that, just in case you hadn't seen it.
We saw this tyranny coming. We saw it coming across the Pacific. Then it landed on our coast. It hit San Francisco. It hit San Francisco fire. And we heard the stories up there. Well, now it's here in Los Angeles. And the mandate has come down from the mayor and the city council that we, all city employees, including first responders, shall take the vaccine. I want you to be clear on this. I want everyone to be clear on this. This is not about politics. This is not about left or right. This is not about red versus blue. This is not about Republican versus Democrat. This isn't even about vaccinated versus unvaccinated. This is tyranny. This is about freedom of choice. The vaccinations will come. And then after that, it will be a booster and another booster and another booster. And when will this end? I am so hopping mad right now, you have no idea. My head could pop.
Oh, please do. Please. Okay, so I'm so hopping mad. When will the tyranny end? You know what's funny about this? We actually do live in a world filled with mandates, especially ones that are about health. I mean, for example, we have to wear pants. I have to wear pants, and guess what? I can't just drop trow and take a shit in the middle of the road. I can't do that. By law. You know? Not a healthy thing to do. Okay? Oh, God, when will this tyranny end? I can't even shit in my own street. Ah, tyranny. I have to wear pants. I'm mandated to wear pants at the store. Where's my right to freeball it around the city? Enough with your big government mandates. No, that's what this guy sounds like, okay? Sounds like a baby. No, actually, you know what? Babies take vaccines better than people like this, okay? Yeah, they might cry a little bit when they get the poke. But as soon as you mention ice cream, they're totally fine. Totally fine. Maybe we just need like a national ice cream program. You know, get your vax, get some ice cream. Maybe a lollipop for some of these people. All right? I'm just, look. I'm tired of the whining. Okay, we've asked, we've begged, we've pleaded with people. Hey, don't get yourself sick. You can get other people sick. You'll clog up, the hospitals with your sickness. And guess what? They don't care. They're literally they're literally wiping their ass with this. That's what they're doing. And so, you know what? That's why I'm totally fine with the mandates. I'm fine with the mandates. You want to play games? Fine. Lose your job. Hey, man, that's your choice. That's your choice. It's your freedom. You want to stand up? Stand up. For your freedom to be a dick face, then do so. Do so. Freedom. I guess they want to be down with the sickness. That's pretty good. I get a reference on. I get that reference. Okay. Let's change the subject here. Let's get to QAnon. Round out the show. Freedom still means consequences. Exactly. Exactly. I swear, these people have not seen true oppression. They really haven't. Lord. Okay, anyway. Let's get to the fun stuff. QAnon war. Conflict going between Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood, and Michael Flynn that continues to get even more insane. There's lots of fun accusations and even audio of Michael Flynn basically saying, "Oh, QAnon, it's CIA. It's an op. It's an op." So let me give you some of the more recent developments that happened over this holiday weekend. On Friday, Lynn Wood lashed out in his Telegram account, accusing the organizers of the January 6th Stop the Steal rally that preceded the Capitol insurrection of being, wait for it, deep state. Because of course it is, right? According to a report from Rolling Stone, the former attorney for Kyle Rittenhouse, who is now in an ugly fight over the teens' bail money, now that his trial has ended, has been spending the past few days pointing the finger at former allies on the right who have criticized his practices. In response, he has accused them of being grifters, because of course. Grifters, it's almost as if this is the Spider-Man meme, literally with them pointing at each other. You're the grifter, you're the grifter, you're the grifter. You're all grifters. Okay, anyway. Now, in this post on Friday, he attacked the Stop the Steal organizers and included a record of a conversation he had with a high-profile supporter of Trump, former Overstock.com CEO Patrick Byrne. He writes this, quote, "After doing the research and connecting the dots," research, "I have reached the conclusion that the Stop the Steal organization is a deep state organization to raise money for purposes other than to fix 2020. Watch out for anyone affiliated with Stop the Steal. Every lie will be revealed." That clip of his phone call revealed him telling Byrne, "I'm not sure where all this money is going, but I think somebody owes the American public a full accounting." And this is about, of course, former Trump attorney Sidney Powell, the Release the Kraken lady. Byrne's contribution to the call included him telling Wood, quote, "I have texts. Some of it has to do with Sidney wanting to bed me, and I said no. We have texts and witnesses to that, and that's how she became a woman scorned." Gross. That is not something that we needed to know, but now I know it, and so do you. I'm sorry, you have to know. Wood, in turn, responded, "I haven't spoken a word to Sidney since April 6th, and I will never again. I gave her a laundry list of things she had to clean up and told her she had to get an auditor. She refused to let me look at any, well, I can't tell you more. But we walked out after 17 days there. You can infer what you want from that." Rolling Stone's Peter Wade added, later in the conversation, Wood and Powell both said that they believe Powell is currently under federal investigation, and Wood claimed that Powell signed my name to certain lawsuits without my knowledge or permission, and she hasn't been honest about that. No one here has been honest. Before adding the two discussed how much money Powell had raised, allegedly to fund her attempts to overturn the election, which they said ranged between $15 to $70 million. That's a lot of money. Jesus Christ. Wow. So far, all I can say about what we know is that there are grifters everywhere. Wow. So much money. And again, you think about where the money came from. It came from conservative voters who have bought into all of this and think, no. They've got my best interests at heart. Do they, though? Do they? No, they don't. Now, total insanity. So Rittenhouse was mentioned here. So now remember, Lynn Wood was at one point Kyle Rittenhouse's lawyer. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse only famous for shooting 3 people. But here's the thing. So Kyle's, Kyle, in a recent interview, claimed that his mom fired Lynn Wood after he started making these election fraud conspiracies. Whether you believe him or not, doesn't really matter. Because what you had, and this was important, you had somebody, Lynn Wood, raising $2 million off Kyle Rittenhouse for supposedly bail money and didn't bail him out. What did he do with the money? He just took the money, stuffed it in his pocket. That said, I was totally fine with Rittenhouse being in jail. This is not out of concern for him, but this is him basically, Lynn Wood being an absolute grifter. And so now you have Wood that's fighting with Powell, and here comes Michael Flynn. Now the Daily Beast has flagged a recording Wood had posted to Telegram over the weekend of what the attorney claims to be a phone call between himself and Trump's former national security advisor. Here is some of that conversation.
I'm tired of these QAnon people attacking me.
Maybe, I don't know that.
But you know some of them.
I think it's a disinformation campaign. I think it's a disinformation campaign that the CIA created. That's what I believe. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I think it is. I think it's a disinformation campaign. It's actually a very interesting article today out that was sent to me. I'll send it to you about how the QAnon movement has failed and all that. But I find it total nonsense, and I think it's a disinformation campaign created by the left, and the types of people that can create something like that are the kinds of people that we train for certain, with certain skills in the CIA.
I'm aware that the CIA does it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm aware the CIA does programs where they'll give you 75% of the truth and then wrap it in a package that makes you look crazy to demean the truth they gave you.
Oh, this is so good. So wait a minute. So now Michael Flynn says, QAnon, no, turns out it's a disinformation campaign from the leftists over at the CIA. Wait. Whoa. The same CIA that brutally crushes every single leftist movement in the global south. Again, they have funded death squads that are against, that prop up right-wing dictators. Or how about the ones that overthrew the Shah of Iran and put in a puppet government in order to get access to cheaper oil for corporations? Because, lefties, well known for loving the oil industry. That CIA. Oh, they're leftist. They're the lefties at the CIA. Well known. Very, very woke. Ooh, wow. Jesus. A completely different world that they're living in. Just insane. Not at all tethered to reality. But hey, look, if you're QAnon, you're already not tethered in reality. Now the fun thing here is, oh look, Michael Flynn, who used QAnon, remember, he had went out and done so many speeches where I am QAnon, where we go one, we go all. you know, I am so pro QAnon, it's just wonderful. Oops. Now it's an op. Oh, no, it's always been an op. Yes, of course. No, he's total grifter. Total grifter. Now, one more interesting note is the article Flynn shares with Wood. Now, it turns out that it's from somebody named Hal Turner. Who the hell is Turner? I'm kidding. That guy is a far-right radio show host who is well known for, guess what? Blaming the Jews for everything. Because, of course, I keep telling you every time, every right-wing conspiracy immediately comes back to, it was the Jews. Every time. Literally the oldest conspiracy in the book. And here we have a former general, okay, and former national security advisor who thought, oh, this guy, a gigantic anti-Semite, reputable source, nailed it, totally nailed it. And add to that, by the way, Lin Wood. Now, Lin Wood also claimed on Sunday that George Soros gave Michael Flynn the power of attorney over something like $1.5 million in funding. He's like, being funded by George Soros. Oh, we got him. And until, of course, he found out that it was not that Michael Flynn, it was a different Michael Flynn. And then when he was wrong, he's like, deep state. Must have been deep state fault. For me not being able to do any sort of basic research at all. Look, on the one hand, this is ridiculous. It's insane. On the other hand, it's really funny to watch conspiracy theorists turn their conspiracies on each other. It's a little bit of, how do I say it? Because I'm always going to say it wrong. Schadenfreude. I probably butcher it every single time, but as much as I can't say the word, I love the feeling. Oh, it feels so good. Let them rip each other apart. It's better in the long run. Also add sad baby. Okay. All right. Both Flynn's need to lose all the benefits given to them from our government and prosecuted, charged, and found guilty of treason. Says Liz Gallo on Facebook. Thank you for weighing in. Appreciate that. I don't disagree. They have caused some serious harm. And look, think about it this way. By embracing these conspiracies, which led to January 6th happening, Michael Flynn, you could say he, definitely turned his back on his own country. All right. One more story. QAnon related. Following one disastrous flop after another, there are some QAnon followers that are starting to get a little disillusioned, a little dispirited. So we go to conspiracy theorist Donnie Warren. So Donnie Warren is on Telegram and has thousands of followers. I don't know why, okay, he's relevant, but apparently big QAnon guy. Now, he had shared an open letter to Donald Trump, former President Trump, and what he did, and by the way, he shared it with the QAnon Telegram group as well, and basically he's complaining about the number of failed predictions regarding the whole QAnon conspiracy theory. So basically he's saying, well, I don't understand. We did not arrest the global elites. What happened? We didn't get the global elites. We didn't get the storm did not come. There was no storm. And there was no restoration of Trump. Well, you idiots. That was never going to happen. There's actually no vehicle to restore a president that was voted out of office. I just... No. But anyway, let me give you some excerpts here. He said, quote, "We've seen nothing happen. I told a few of my awake friends that either this would be the best Thanksgiving ever or the worst. Guess which one it was." Oh, they're crying over their cranberry sauce. Oh, how sad. Very, very sad. He said, "For months I have anticipated each day with excitement, knowing that I was watching my president and his crews of patriots take back our country, our freedom." Freedom. I'm losing that excitement now. This is starting to get very old. I will not be checking Lynn Wood's page or General Michael Flynn or any others for a good while. I'm already tired of it. Well, one of the most recent stories that I did is the fight between Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, and Michael Flynn, where Michael Flynn literally says, "Oh, QAnon's just an op." Oh, yeah, CIA, the lefties over at the CIA. I know. Hilarious, right? They did QAnon, total disinformation campaign. So you might want to get caught up on that. Yeah. So it's almost as if, I don't know, this entire thing was this bullshit. I know. There was no massive voter fraud. There was no storm. The storm did not come. There's no replacement. There's no reinstatement. All of this has been just a grab bag of garbage conspiracies and copium. Because they have been, understand that these people have been insulated from facts and reality for so long, they don't know how to deal with it. Again, if you were in that bubble in the lead up to the election, you were in that bubble, it was all about Trump's going to win, Trump's going to win, Trump's going to destroy, he's going to decimate, he's going to beat Sleepy Joe. Oh, yeah, Sleepy Joe, he doesn't stand a chance. Yeah, Trump, he's going to win. And if he doesn't, it's voter fraud. But he's going to win, yeah. And then the reality comes, and where it's like, oh, that didn't happen. Well, obviously, it's because of the voter fraud, because they already said that it was a voter fraud. No, it was actually COVID, really. That's what stopped Donald Trump from getting a second term, honestly. But again, you've lost. That sucks. Come back to reality. Reality misses you. Or maybe they don't, but you should really miss reality, in the real world. Now, one thing here that doesn't get touched on a lot is, well, the personal cost here. There was a personal cost. In fact, he wrote about this. On a personal level, my wife is physically struggling. She suffers from an autoimmune disease that is causing her a lot of pain and suffering as the weeks pass. She, like two of our children who have received the vaccine, could benefit from a med bed. They think I'm crazy for believing in such nonsense. How many more millions in the United States require a medical bed? Both my family and our country are in trouble. So now, I mentioned the personal costs as well when I talked about the JFK Jr., where there are some, there's a weird offshoot of QAnon that is gathering still in Dallas that thinks that JFK Jr. is going to come back and run with Donald Trump. And they've literally cut off their own family. I mean, I remember talking about one woman who left her kids and traveled out there and said, I'm not going to come back until I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. This stuff's happening. Or it could happen. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. Well, you're missing your family. You're missing the little moments that actually make life worth living. What are you doing? You're waiting for something that's never going to happen. But as far as like, okay, Trump, because this is an open letter to Trump, do you think that Donald Trump is going to read this letter? He doesn't read anything. He used to read tweets, and that's about it. That's all he can handle is tweet-length segments. And, of course, he's not on Twitter anymore. So the guy doesn't read. You think he's going to care? He doesn't care. Doesn't care. He's not going to read any of this. But you know what actually does care about people not getting health care? The left. The actual left. Not corporate Dems. The left. The left wants everyone to get health care. We want people to be able to get a med bed in the hospital. We want them to be able to do that. You know what? That's why we're pushing the vaccine. We don't want to control you. I don't want to do that. I have enough on my plate, all right, with my own freaking life to control. I don't want to control somebody else. Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous. No, all I want to do is make your life better and mine too. That's it. We want good things, not bad things. I mean, it's very, very simple, right? We want good things to happen. And we want a good representative government. And we want health care. Give people health care. Medicare for all. But again, the people, and understand that these people, look, they're following insane people and believing in insane things. And they're following grifters and people that are, just out there lying to make money and to use people for power. Regular people, they're getting suckered. And they're getting sucked at, like suburban wine moms are getting sucked into QAnon through Facebook posts. That's crazy. Crazy. And again, it's because of these grifters, this right-wing conservative media. And look, I know that I'm not going to get to most of these people. I get it. I'm not going to get through to them. I'm a communist. I know they're too far gone. Okay? But you know what? If I can actually reach a few people, a couple of people, and manage to shake them back to reality, doing what I do, well, that makes the job worth it. That's really all I can hope for. And hopefully some of these people who are starting to see, through QAnon and be like, oh, well, it turns out that we've been wrong the whole time. Hopefully some of these people can make their way back into reality. That's really all I want. Okay. What we should all want. Okay. All right. Let me thank Dango Bango for the very kind $5 donation super chat. Hey, there are different ways that you can help us, by the way, help the show. You can, if you're on Facebook, you can send stars while we're live. That's kind of a cool feature. On YouTube, of course, you can super chat, or if you're watching a video offline, you can send a super thanks. I appreciate that. You can become a member like Dazzler Fu. Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Or you can become a patron, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. And, Twitch, you can sub like Christina, like I'm Christina. Again, thank you for the tier 1 sub. You can gift a sub to your friends. Again, give them the gift and then help us out as well. Share bits. You can do all sorts of things. So, appreciate it. If you're able to help us. If you're not, don't worry about it. Again, it helps out. And I thank you very, very much for supporting the show, supporting the channel. So you got to fight Facebook with Facebook. Sometimes you got to. You got to. Also, just a very important way to help the show is just to share and like the stream. The simplest way that you can do that. So thank you to all those who have done that as well. Please give us a like before you leave. We're going to figure out who to raid into. Let's see. We've got a couple of political channels here. Serfs, Hackman, or Left Flank Vets. That's all who's on today at this time. It's kind of a weird time where not a lot of people are on. So, all right, I already see serfs. So let's send people to the serfs, and you'll have a fantastic day. Start that. Thank you all. Love you, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, Nation. We'll see you tomorrow. Please come back. Same time, same place, right here, 4 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully we'll see you back.
Who's got a hammer?
There's insanity in the control room.
Stop it!
Amazing.
Mike Towns.
Please clap.
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.